This is the Padua Podcast Network. So we are interested in long-term effects, and I think this may affect how seriously people take the precautions suggested by the CDC and others. Running a Fever, episode 245, a study of COVID and IQ. Welcome to Running a Fever. My name is Michael Davis. This is a podcast about fitness, diet, and medicine. And all I want to do is live a long, healthy, happy, and active life right up to the very end. And I want that for you too. So that's why I'm sharing this every week. I am sorry to interrupt our fascinating study of dementia, but this new article about COVID-19 is somewhat related and very timely, so I thought I should bring it to your attention. Last week, a report was released of a study conducted by Adam Hampshire of Imperial College in London. This has been widely reported, and I have some links, of course, in the show notes at runningafever.com/245. Now, the results are new, so they have not been peer-reviewed. They've just been kind of reported. 84,000 people who had recovered from COVID-19. Actually, no, that's not true. 84,000 people. Now, I don't think all of those had actually recovered from COVID-19, but they were studied and found to perform worse on cognitive performance tests than demographics would normally predict. The ones that had been recovered from a possible or definite case of COVID-19. Now, the difference found was equivalent, according to at least one of these articles, to a 10-year decline or an 8.5-point difference in IQ. So the specific test was the Great British Intelligence Test. I'll call it GBIT from now on. And this is on a website, and it appears to be legit. And I don't mean to have anything negative about that, but you can find the link in the show notes and go take the test yourself if you want to. But it says that the test and questionnaire should take about 30 minutes. So this is not the kind of rigorous IQ test that a neuropsychologist might perform. Now, I'm not saying that I'm skeptical of this study, this report. I don't want you to get that idea. I mean, we're a year into this thing, and hopefully most scientific effort has been focused on developing a vaccine. But going back to episode 220, which was a general and kind of hopeful look into long-term effects, I hope anyway, I was disappointed. I did express some disappointment there at the fact that we didn't really have much information, nothing certainly solid, even though people are definitely looking into it and collecting data right now. So that's kind of what I'm feeling here. But it does provide some more data points that may be helpful in the overall scheme of things. So we are interested in long-term effects, and I think this may affect how seriously people take the precautions suggested by the CDC and others. The study did find that COVID-19 may cause long-term health changes. Of course, anything like this is going to have a lot of vague terms in it. One interesting datum is that in the GBIT, there was a decline in performance between the ages of 20 and 70. Now, there's some debate about this in general, not for this particular study, although I'm sure there will be, but in general. And I have to admit, I haven't studied it very much, but I remember I was looking into this whole intelligence testing thing about 17 years ago, and I found that intelligence tests adjust for factors such as age and probably some of the demographic factors that come into this study. Age, education, obviously, things like that, because there's a thing called accumulated intelligence, and you have to adjust for that. I do remember when I was looking into it, I found that intelligence they do adjust for factors such as age, and that the raw scores should increase over time. Now, this may be due to accumulated intelligence. In other words, as we get older, we have accumulated more learning versus our, raw mental capacity. This is just common sense, right? If you're an engineer who's been to college, graduate school, 10 years of experience in the field, you're going to, know more about engineering than someone who is a freshman in college or something. It doesn't mean that that person is less intelligent than you in terms of capacity. It just means that you have more knowledge and skill. I mean, not just facts, but skill, ability, and reasoning that you've accumulated over that time. So I found another article on the MIT site, which lists several types of cognitive function with differing peaks, ranging from fluid intelligence, meaning our ability to think quickly and recall information, which peaks at age 20. Now, this is a little more complex, and some areas of fluid intelligence peak as late as 40. And another example is the ability to evaluate the emotional states of others, which peaks in the 40s and 50s. Anyway, I'm getting a little on a tangent here, I understand, but long-term listeners know I'm just more interested in this topic than any other health topic. In short, I believe that the GBIT, which is hardly comprehensive, measured fluid intelligence based on my reading of the study report itself. And, it mentioned the ages of 20 to 70, a decline there. Possible causes include hypoxia or oxygen starvation, which may be the reason that cognitive impairment has been seen in patients with other respiratory illnesses. Now, understand that COVID-19 causes a respiratory disease. That's why, some of these people had been on ventilators, and that's been an issue, availability of ventilators, because, and if the disease is advanced and has is more severe in some people, they need to be on a ventilator. Otherwise, they do have this hypoxia. Sometimes cognitive impairment was the first noticed symptom. Of course, there are problems with any statistical information. For example, maybe people with lower cognitive function are more likely to get the disease. There's nothing definitive here, and I don't want to get into the vagueness. You can get plenty of that from the report itself. Now, the report is short, especially if you include all the text about the methods and all the mathematical stuff. So I recommend you read it yourself. The link to the report, as well as all the other references, are at runningafever.com/245 as usual. So what I take from this is just an increased awareness of the need for continued caution and vigilance. As I record this on Halloween 2020, statistics for the United States are as bad as they have ever been. The spread of the disease is not slowing down. There's this thing called R0, which is the measure of contagion. 1 means you don't spread it. One person gets it and they don't spread it at all. It's greater than 1 in all 50 states. And as you can see by today's episode, the disease is very serious. It's not like the flu. That's what I thought. Honestly, when first thing started out, I'm like, I'm not in that older category yet, and over 60. I'm not 60 yet. And so if I get it, it'll just be like the flu. I'll get over it and I'll be fine. There's a very small chance of fatality. But it's a lot more serious than that. It's not something you can take lightly. It's not like the flu. Even if you get over it, which most people do, there may be serious long-term effects. And one of those effects may be cognitive impairment. So I hope this has been a beneficial episode, if not a very happy one. But I hope you've got something out of it. So be careful out there.